I always try to keep this short, and then 30 minutes later, I'm saying thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we're gonna... Hey, welcome back to the channel. All right, it is time for the June champion rankings and tier list. I love making this video. It is so much fun. I've learned so much from you, and then also from answering your questions, going back and forth. This tier list has evolved over time, as it should, because our game definitely does as well. Not as many promotions as demotions this month, but we're going to go over those. We're going to go over some really cool new things that are happening as we have things like Gauntlet coming out. And then, of course, we'll go over the buff champions. For those of you that are completely new to this video from me, I want to make it absolutely abundantly clear. This is based on all the conversations I have in Discord and online, all the videos I see on those two formats, of course, or platforms. And then also I like to watch YouTube too, just like you do. And then I filter all of that through my own experience and who I'm using. I try not to weight it too much for war. I do enjoy war, but I realize so few of us play it that seriously. The story content and the big quests are really where we're focused. And then we spit out this and we have a really good time talking about it. Also, this probably looks different to you if you've never seen this before. That's because I only believe in 4 columns. I only believe in 4. The more we try to get down into the nitty-gritty, the more I think this seems like this spreadsheet has all the answers. And I am going to say, and I know this is not the way you're supposed to start something like this, this spreadsheet does not have all the answers. It most definitely does not. In fact, it is specifically intended, and it is kept simple for a very specific reason. And the reason is, this is a snapshot. This is what I think. If you are interested in what Vega thinks, or that dude, that guy, whatever, what does he think? You can go here, you're like, all right, he thinks Doom is better than Mojo. Now you go and do your research. You play those champions. Chances are, if you're looking it up for that specific reason, it's because you just pulled them. You go and you play them and you see what you can do. And if you have even enjoy playing them, and then if you're gonna rank them up, please, and this is something I've done, like you see Mojo here, anything that's got like this blue type, it's going to link to either my video on it, one that I feel is very good that I've done, or, and I want to show you this right here, we'll go over this later. If there's a content creator out there who I really believe in, I trust, I enjoyed their videos, and they've done a much better job than I have, or I haven't gotten a video out, like right here, this is a link to Buddy Lee's Immortal Hulk playlist. If you've got Immortal Hulk, you're curious about Immortal Hulk, you go to this, you'll learn a lot about Immortal Hulk. All right, I think that was all of the intros, the prefaces, the contingencies. Let's get started on this thing. Okay, the first column, this is like the best of the best, is top shelf. And I've got a little like thing there mainly to remind me to explain what it means. Basically, here is the definition of top shelf, is you've just pulled a champion. You've pulled Dr. Doom as a 5-star. You use your awakening gem on him, and you use all of those 6 stones that you've been saving, they're precious. And you bring him all the way up to rank 5, SIG 200, and the very next 6-star crystal you open is Dr. Doom. It might sting for a day, maybe even 2 days, but by day 3, you're starting to realize, holy smokes, I now have 2 versions of Dr. Doom, and I am set up with the 6 stars for the future. You are pumped up. You are pumped up. That's how you know a champion is top shelf. All right, so let's go through. We're going to talk about the differences here, right? I always try to keep this short, and then 30 minutes later, I'm saying thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to go through here. I do want to call attention to this, not to my video. I want to call attention to, I did finally, the mutant top shelf has been ever evolving since I first started doing this almost a year ago. I think the game has evolved. And I think this really represents what I'm seeing being used. Things like the Gauntlet coming out, right? Gauntlet is like, that is the end game of end game for us all right now. Who's actually being used for, and how incredibly dominant they are in it. Also keep in mind, yeah, I've rated them, I've ranked them within their tiers, but it is a loose ranking. Like the closer you are to the top, yeah, Cable, not nearly as good as Archangel. Really even probably Omega Red. Cable is also a very unique situation. I'm not picking on Cable. I love Cable. In that is with that synergy. It is only with the synergy, and that's what that S is, right? And you'll see that a few times on the spreadsheet. For the most part, just awakened ability and how important that might be. So there's been some maneuvering around there. That's just how dominant Archangel is now. I think it's time to show that, respect that. Professor X can honestly be almost as dominant. He's just a lot more difficult to use. All right, so we've talked about that, pointed that out. I'm sure some of you will have some opinions, and I love reading those. All right, let's go ahead and move on down. We've already talked about science. That was last month. I really don't think there's been any other changes in the top shelf category. The top shelf's the top shelf. There should not be too many changes in there. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and go up to the super premium. Yes, right? You're pumped up, you pulled them. This is how you know the super premium. You're pumped up, you pulled them. And then one of the questions I get asked more than any of the others, or just it's one of the most prevalent, is should I take this champion to rank 3? Often it's for Thronebreaker or just general, like, yeah, I've only got a couple of them or whatever. If my gut reaction, if the instant reaction, you know, I'm on stream, you ask me this question, me and DLL talk it over, or me and work, or me and Z, or whoever's on with me at the time, and the chat, and we all, for the most part, are like, yeah, you should. That's a great rank 3. And we're gonna start asking like, well, what about your roster? Or do you need a double immune? Or do you need a power control? If we can just immediately say, yeah, you know what? That's a great rank 3. Way to go. Congratulations. They deserve to be in super premium. The one who I do want to call attention to, in fact, we got to change this up. He should have pink square, or I guess it's not a square, a rectangle, you get the point. Simsup. When Simsup first came into the game, I think, you know, he was quite powerful. I feel like the game was maybe at a slightly different place. I really was ecstatic when I got him. But the fact of the matter is I never see anyone use him. Well, that's not true. The last time I saw someone use him was Iron Patriot, who is an amazing player. It's for a very specific fight against the champion boss in War. That's pretty much whenever I see Simsup used, because he is by far the best champion for that right now, that we're aware of anyway. And then that's about it. The other mystics have passed him by. They've come up. There's Doom. There's Claire now. One of my personal favorites, who I just took to rank 3, Sorcerer Supreme, who honestly, she might be getting promoted. Let's keep our eye on here. But I wanted to point that out. Simsup, I think, might be getting a demotion into the premium column. If and when that happens, we will talk about it a bit more in length. Just has to do with the game kind of evolving and passing him by. It doesn't mean he can't ever come back. It's just, I think that's going to happen. I really do. All right, let's continue to move down. And I think we will be getting to, yeah, here we go. There has been some movement in super premium in the science, but it's more been demotions. We'll talk about that when we get to premium. Tech has been stayed the same. I've been really happy with the tech rankings for a while now. I am fully expecting sometime in the next, 12 months for there to be some really top shelf or at least super premium tech champions coming up, or in some reworks, but we'll talk about that as we get to the reworks for this month. And then, all right, here's one. Shang-Chi. He is insane. He is incredible. Really, if it wasn't for my own principles and rules I've set up on these previous videos, he would be in top shelf. I think he is definitely deserving of it. I believe he probably will be there next month. I have my own version of him. In fact, I should link my video. In fact, it will be linked by the time this video goes live. He's incredible. He's awesome. The cleanse, the unblockable, the slow that you can refresh and double up. The damage is more than adequate. In fact, it is excellent. It just can take a little bit of time to get there. But if I see a lot of people comparing him, analogizing him to Guardian, I think it's maybe even a little bit more accessible, or a little more quickly accessible than Guardians. And I love Guardian. If you've got Shang-Chi, I truly believe you have a top shelf, but I like to start off a little bit more conservative. I want to see it being proven. I've heard and seen him being used in Gauntlet, and I'd like to see that a bit more as we get into new war season. 7.2 is here. We have Summer of Pain starting to show up. Let's see him being used. It's very clear that he's got the kit for it. The flow on him is amazing. But again, start off here, because it always feels better to move a champion up than it does to move them down. Kingpin, I could see him being moved up. I really think that's also a matter of time. I did an initial review on him. I have him at rank 3. I absolutely love him. I think he is very good, even unawakened. but as you awaken him, get the sig going, and then when you can use him with anything that's applying a debuff, even if you don't bring Hood, but that debuff better not kill you. But if it's that powerful a debuff, or you're able to bring Hood, holy smokes, holy smokes. And then you include in Mr. Sinister, and I will start getting those sorts of videos out too, the volume 2 and 3 of that series. Go, if you're like, what is this guy talking about? Check this out. Go ahead and click on this link. It'll take you to the playlist. You'll see a few of those videos, and you'll see Kingpin very well, maybe in top shelf in the next iteration or version of this video in the next following months. Let's go ahead and move down. There's been no changes. In fact, it looks like Cosmic has stayed completely the same, but we'll still go down and take a look at it. Let's go ahead and get to premium. All right, so sticking with one of the most frequent questions I get asked is, should I rank this champion to rank 3? And if you name, and I'm just picking on them because they happen to be at the top, if you name Sasquatch, there's this instinct, you'll see it, especially if it's on stream, you'll see it on my face, and it'll be like, well, what do you got? Do you need someone with that sort of immunity? With Sasquatch in particular, it's, you're not crazy for thinking this, especially it's a game, right? One of the first questions I typically ask is, one of the first things I say is, do you enjoy playing that champion? If you do, all right, then let's move on to step 2. If the answer is no, typically I'll say, then you shouldn't rank them because you're probably never going to play them. And you'll find uses or reasons to not use them, which is something I know I do myself with champions I don't enjoy. So that's premium. They're very good. The question is not crazy, especially if you're trying to get, like, for your initial Thronebreaker or something like that, right? This is the champion that'll get you Thronebreaker. Like, okay, yeah. All right, let's talk through your roster a little bit. Why don't you join the Discord, show us some pictures, let's see what you're working with, and then let's make sure this makes sense, and then yeah. So that's a premium champion. That's what makes sense, right? And these are good champions. Let's make that very, very clear. These are very good champions you can clear a significant amount of content with. Mojo. The reason Mojo actually should be highlighted too, because we are going to talk about him. I recently moved Mojo down. From super premium. I actually believe if this was just truly I don't really care what anyone else thinks, I don't really care what anyone else is using, Mojo would be in super premium. He's good enough that if I pulled him as a 6-star, I would actually be very tempted to use my Awakening Gem and 6 stones on him. I don't know if I would, because I also have Tigra who's not awakened, but I would be tempted to, and he's hard to separate from how fun he actually is. He is excellent. I do know he has low block proficiency. That's something that has always been brought up. And I think that's a very easy thing. If you pull him and you start to play him, you're like, oh, this guy is so squishy. But as you start to play him, you learn and you realize that he actually has a heal that's kind of based on how much health he has. And so he actually becomes relatively sustainable at lower health. And by lower, I don't mean like 15%. I mean like 25, 30, 35, 40. He becomes very, very sustainable. And then once you get his damage going, it is incredible. I have linked this. This is not even my video. This is a recent MCoC friend that I have made. It is excellent. The guy's, even his logo is Mojo, but he does a great job of showing you the fights at Spinnaker 3. This is a playlist of his Mojo fights. Go check that out if you're interested in Mojo at all. If you pull a Mojo, amazing, amazing resource. All right. Let's move on through. So we've gotten to Gambit. Gambit has, I believe, has been moved up in the rankings, and I think there's very much a potential to move him further. One of the reasons why I have not pushed him up is because I'm trying not to reflect the Horseman ability. Keep in mind, Cable, I know we talked about him. That is purely the synergy with Apocalypse, and that's part of what makes Apocalypse so good, is being able to keep him ramped up. With the Horseman, he loses the genetic code, I believe it's called. So I don't want to get this spreadsheet too complex. Remember, I talked about at the beginning, I'm intentionally keeping it simple. That being said, I have seen videos of Horseman Gambit. In fact, it's in my own Build Your Team spreadsheet and Build Your Team video for Gauntlet. My buddy Meta destroyed Gauntlet. Destroyed some of the fights with Horseman Gambit. Buddy Lee, whose channel I've already linked and talked about with Immortal Hulk, you'll see. Check that out. He is a great player, great user of Horseman Gambit if you're interested in that. really, please go check that out. I could see Gambit being moved up, especially if I ever decide to truly reflect Horseman. I just think that makes the spreadsheet a little too complex, more than I'm going for. But Gambit's not a bad pull at all. All right, let's continue to move down. I'm going to take a quick second because I realized I did forget to talk about Mr. Fantastic. He was recently moved up into Super Premium. I would not be shocked if in a month or two we see him in Top Shelf. He is that good. He didn't need a buff, at all, but apparently Kabam wanted him to be better than he already was. This is their game. I mean, you know, hey, I like buffs, right? If you're interested in Mr. Fantastic or you're wondering why is he even Super Premium, much less Top Shelf, check out this guide. It's 45 minutes long, but it's time-stamped, and it is the Bible on Mr. Fantastic. It just absolutely is. You'll become a better player, and you'll definitely become a better Mr. Fantastic player. Check it out. Okay, so now we're in Premium with Science. Spider-Ham, well-deserved. I could see him moving up one day. I think this is a great place for him for the time being. Immortal Hulk, we already talked about Buddy Lee. Things Immortal Hulk is doing, people are using him in the gauntlet, not just Buddy Lee. Plenty of players. I don't know Immortal Hulk very well, but I know what I'm seeing. And I know that what I'm seeing in these videos isn't just luck or happenstance or someone being particularly good at the game. Yes, they are also good at it. The champion himself is good. This pains me a little bit. I thought Red Guardian was I really do believe Red Guardian was on his way to being an absolute star in this game. I think Elsa Bloodstone was as well. I believe they came out relatively close to each other. And then we hit Kabam, we being the community, hit Kabam with a lot of intense feedback. It appears as though Kabam listened to it, because I gotta tell you, I'm very happy with the state of the game right now. It appears as though Kabam listened to it, and I think the collateral damage or the unintended consequences of it were that the niches that Red Guardian and Elsa were on their way to really just being superstars in, those got closed down. Doesn't mean they can't ever come back. I think there's enough in both of their kits to elevate them even more. I just think Red Guardian got hit harder in that than Elsa Bloodstone when you see where I have her ranked. He's good. He's just not being used. I can't keep him in Super Premium any longer. The council that I talk to, I show these rankings to a group of very smart players before I actually go ahead and do them. I show them the adjustments I'm thinking and I'm considering, I'm going to take onto this video, and they've been hammering me pretty hard the last 2 months on Red Guardian, and they're like, dude, you don't even use him. You yourself don't even use him. So there he is. You know, I got a soft spot in my heart for dads with dad bots, you know? So it is what it is. We'll move on. I just like Red Guardian, but I also I'm putting this out there. I need to remove my own enjoyment of playing the champion and things like that from this. So, all right, so we're on to our next new champion. We had Shang-Chi. Now we're on to Mr. Negative. I think this is about right for him. I think there's potential for him to maybe move up Premium, maybe Super Premium, especially if someone discovers a way of playing him or maxing him out, or maybe as people start to take him to like the super high sig, and this is very much part of the game. If nodes start to come out that somehow really emphasize what he can do, if you're very much rewarded for his playstyle, something that Fluffy Pig Monster and Luke helped me understand, and DLL of course too, was holding that heavy when you had, I believe it was the light energy, when you're going in from your combo. Of course, you don't want the defender to have bar power. I know that feels like a lot of contingencies, and it did kind of feel that way when playing him, but it was a nice way to kind of get some really nice flow and rhythm going in the fight, and it was a nice way to start building up the light and the dark energy, moving into that SP2, which does have a nice petrify and the degeneration. So I do think there's something there. I don't think this is a lot to do about nothing situation. I'm not sure that the ultimate result though is worth all the effort that you're putting into. He is fun to play if you pull him. I think, you know, have some fun with him, dive into him, see what you think. But I think this is about right. I think this is about right for him. I don't expect we see a lot of movement. I definitely don't think we see movement down. So that's a good thing, right? To know that there's a solid floor, to believe that there's a solid floor in a champion like that. Okay, let's continue to move down. We are into Premium. You see there's 3 that we want to talk about here. Doc Ock, holy cow. It feels like all I'm doing is talking about other people's videos, but that, you know, honestly, that's what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be about getting information out, helping you decide how good is this champion, and then you go do your own research. So if I don't have a good video on it, I'm going to send you where I go. I watch these videos. These are channels I watch. Doc Ock. The guy, I've gotten to know him through my Discord server, an extremely smart player, very good. This is another one of those 45-minute long videos. I do believe he has timestamps in it too. I have not utilized those because I've just been enjoying watching and listening to this. Because of this, and then also Janick. If you don't know Janick, please look him up, check him out. Really smart player and an awesome dude. He uses Doc Ock frequently in Tier 1 Master Level War. Because of that video and Janick's videos, I am considering taking my own Doc Ock up. He's complex, but man, can he do so much. I could see him moving up to Super Premium. I really could see that, which is crazy to say for a champion that's been in the game for so long. But you know what? Sometimes when they're complex, this is just kind of how it happens, and also the game evolves too. Ultron. Ultron's good, folks. I want to say that right now. I know I'm having in the premium, and I think that there's for a variety of reasons. Like, I think he's potentially super premium, and I think even like high super premium. There's a lot there, and one of the things I particularly like about him is his flow. And if you don't know what I mean by flow, it's how does that champion's kit fit together, right? With him, he's got these functions. You want to get these functions done, and then you're going to land your heavy, and then throw your special, and you're going to increase your damage. But it works well together. Like, you want to do a little bit of thinking with him, but you're not like trying to memorize or learn a whole new language, right? You can do it, you can get it done. There's a bit of enjoyment in playing him. It's a little annoying getting used to his evade, but I think as you get used to that, you might even be able to use it for your own, maybe to create some openings or get out of some trouble. I think that might be a bit of a, as you learn to play him, as you play him more, it actually may become an advantage. At a minimum, I think it becomes a nothing. I think the trouble from it will be something you learn to handle, and it could potentially even turn into a positive. And if you're not familiar with it, he can actually dish out a tremendous amount of damage if you go to the SP3, and then for lower health pool fights, you don't even need to do that. He's got the immunities. I don't believe you need him awakened, although I think if you do get him awakened and you start to get that SIG up, I think there's some really nice things that will come along with that. Of the buff champions this month, he's the one I'm by far the most excited about, and I think has the most promise as a standalone champion. Someone that you're not bringing in to make someone else better. You're like, I'm going to use Ultron, and I'm going to beat some content with it. So keep your eye on him. If you pulled him, let me know. In fact, for those of you who have him, because I know he's been in the game a long time, let me know what you're thinking about him, because I really like him. I really do, quite a bit, in fact. Moving down, you hate to compare things, but we don't need to put someone down to make someone else better. War Machine, I love his pre-fights. They are really helpful. The problem for me is that you need to win fights to continue to use his pre-fights. You need to win fights with War Machine. For me, he was the exact opposite. I did not enjoy the flow on this champion. Not that it was impossible, it just felt like the windows to get the maximum out of him, right? Like, I think it was like 2 SP2s, and then you needed to refresh the armor breaks, and you wanted to use your heavy to do that, but the timing on the armor breaks and the timing on the heavies were kind of offset, and there didn't seem to be a good way to really get them on to the same rhythm. And then you go to your SP3, and then after you throw that SP3, you go to your SP1, so like it's almost tiring even explaining it all. And then, I was doing that against Winter Soldier. We did that on stream. And if it's tiring to do it against Winter Soldier, what's that going to be like when you're facing an actually difficult defender with difficult notes? So that's my thought on him. I know that he can do some really nice things in Abyss. So that's not a bad thing. That's why he's in the premium. And the pre-fights clearly are extremely helpful. Just, that's where I'm at on him. Let me know though. Again, he's another champion. He's been in the game a long time. If you have him and you're using him and you're having a lot of success with him, or conversely, you think I'm correct, let me know. I love reading the comments on these things. All right, let's continue to scroll down, and looks like there's no changes in premium for skill. Cosmic is just rock solid. Man, we got to get some good cosmics. they're solid. I think we're going to see some more. I have high hopes for Hercules. There's some thought that America Chavez might actually be Mystic. I'm still hoping she's Cosmic because I'd like to see two awesome Cosmic champions added this year. Kind of like we had two mutants in APOC and Professor X. That'd be cool. That's my hope and dream. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Kabam did not consult me on the development of either champion, which I think is a mistake on their part, but it is what it is. All right, next we're into Call. Call is like, you got a job to do. You need to do this one thing. You know, you need to do some heel reversal. You don't really have anyone to do it. You're like, I do have a guillotine. I can do this. I'm bringing her in. She's gonna own this up for me. Or it's just the baseline of a champion that I could see you being like, yeah, I'm gonna rank them. I enjoy playing them. I'm gonna use them for stuff because they can do things. They can do things in this game. They're not terrible. And we're not going to talk about the champions that aren't very good. You can't see it that well, but the last column is, it's not necessary. Let's not be mean. If I talked about every single, I mean, I can see we're already 26 minutes in. If I talked about all those champions too, this would be 4 hours long, and it would just be a list of like how bad they are. We don't need to do that. All right, so let's go through Ebony Maw. Man, I had high hopes for him. Even reading his abilities, I thought there was just going to be this really nice flow on refreshing his degeneration. I thought you were going to access the falter really well, just to create so many openings. I think this is just what we got. I think he's designed to be a defender. I think Kabam is actually doing us a solid by not making him more overpowered, and this is just where they've ended up. He's usable. He's usable. I actually kind of enjoyed him. It just takes a really long time, and I got to the point where I'm like, there are so many other really cool mystics. I'd rather just use them. But if you like him and stuff, like, yeah, go for it. He can serve a purpose. He can serve a purpose. He is not the complete and total wet noodle that he once was. So that's the thing. That's the thing. And then we are moving down. And I think that is it. So we'll get to the closing here. Remember, this spreadsheet is intentionally kept extremely simple for a reason. I don't want this to be your answer. No, this is meant to be a starting point. Please go and watch someone else's videos on them. Watch mine. I think they're good. The ones I've linked, I think they're good. I've made a lot more videos than are linked here. I just were like, maybe they're early on in my time, or a new and better way has come out on playing them. And so, you know, I'd appreciate the view, but I'd prefer you get the right information. The champions are ranked in their tiers, but again, that's loose. And then as we move down from top shelf to call, those rankings become even more and more fluid. This game is just so complex. It is going to be very rare for a champion to just always be better than another, depending on the fight and the note. It just going to be really rare. You see the hot pink box there. That is letting you know that we talked about this champion in this most recent video. I think that's a nice way to make sure they stand out. This spreadsheet will be linked in the description of the video. You can check it out at any time. And the link should be live. You can follow me on Twitter at Vega Playbook. And then we have the Discord there, which is, it's a great community. I'm actually starting to get to the point where I almost want to stop talking about it because it's just such a wonderful community. And we've got a really great vibe there of, it's almost like no question is stupid type of thing. I ask questions all the time. Everyone does. And we get answers. We help each other out. And we talk about all kinds of cool stuff. But you can definitely hop on there. Show a photo or 2 or 3 or 4 of your roster, what you're trying to get accomplished. And I would bet, depending on the time of day, 2 or 3 or 4 people will be answering your questions and throwing out ideas within, you know, very, very quickly. And then soon enough, if you hang out, you'll find that all of a sudden you start answering these questions because you've just picked up so much knowledge in the game. Thank you so much for watching. I really do enjoy reading the comments and learning what it is you think and your opinions on these champions. I really appreciate it. I hope you're having a great day. Take care. I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.
See